This ain't your ordinary football show. It's the Old Dominion Football Show with Bruce Rader and Coach Bobby Wilder. Brought to you by Priority Automotive.
It was a fitting way for Old Dominion to end the regular season. A sold-out crowd in Williamsburg against a perennial national championship contender, the College of William and Mary. Both offenses were superb, running up and down the field, 500 yards apiece, a total of 66 points. It would end, though, as expected, in the final minutes with a turnover. The Monarchs, again, with the big defensive plays, the result, a 35-31 win. What happened and what's next? Let's find out. The Old Dominion Football Show starts now. I'm Bruce Rader along with Coach Bobby Wilder and the Silver Mace. And Coach, you couldn't have asked for a better atmosphere to wrap up your first season in the CAA.
No, what an incredible game. Just an outstanding college football game in an excellent environment. And honestly, Bruce, I felt like it was a home game. I felt like beyond the 1,000 tickets we were allotted, there were Old Dominion fans throughout the stands. Just a great atmosphere and a great football game. All
right, of your 11 games this year, 8 were decided in the fourth quarter, including last Saturday, and winning the turnover battle always seems to be the key.
Yeah, this is an area, Bruce, we talked about with our players all year, that in the CAA, games are decided in the fourth quarter. And I'm proud to say this year, Bruce, of our overall 9-2 record, 8 games were decided in the fourth quarter, and we were 6-2 in those football games. And you mentioned the turnovers. We're number 1 in the CAA statistically in turnover margin. In 8 games, our defense has taken the ball away 17 times, and we've only turned it over 7 times, so we're a +10. That's a winning formula.
All right, Coach, let's talk about the defense. Not necessarily a great performance. You really needed those turnovers.
We did need those turnovers, Bruce. We were in a situation where we couldn't stop Jonathan Grimes, and to get the 3 turnovers, that was the difference, because we didn't turn the ball over at all. They had 3 turnovers. One on an opening drive, Eric Lewis strips the ball, Carvin Powell recovers it in the end zone, and then Eric Lewis with 2 interceptions at the end of the game, which led to him being named the CAA Defensive Player of the Week. We needed those turnovers.
All right, you know, we talked last week about Jonathan Grimes, maybe the best player in William and Mary history, a class act, and on his during his final game, he really put on a show.
He did. This was a player you and I had discussed last week, and I had said he's one of my favorite players in my 24 years in the league that I've ever coached against because of how hard he plays. He runs, he tackles, he blocks, and he had 38 carries for 233 yards in this game. But I'm proud of the fact our defense in the fourth quarter, when we needed to stop him and make them throw the ball, we did.
We'll miss watching him. You'll miss coaching him. You won't miss coaching against him.
Not at all.
Your offense, meanwhile.
We'll wish him well in the NFL.
That's right. 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. You don't get numbers like that unless your offensive line performs well, and they did.
Boy, you're right, Bruce. And we have had an exceptional performance all year long up front. We've gotten better each week. And you and I had discussed before, Bruce, last year we played 7 different combinations up front due to injury. This year, we've had the same consistent 5 and maybe a 6th or 7th guy getting reps in the game, but we've had the same starting lineup each week. And wow, what a performance, which has allowed for the development of Taylor Heineke and everybody in our offense.
And your running game, it looks like you have a dual running game now. Not only Colby Goodwin from Phoebus High School, but your freshman, Angus Harper, he seems to get better every week.
He did. 14 carries, 106 yards, 3 touchdowns, and one of the best runs you'll see, Bruce, on his last touchdown when he had to break a tackle to get in and score to help win the game, 35-31. You mentioned Colby. Colby's still injured. He's coming back from that ankle. He had to come out a couple times in the game, but Lorenzo Smith got in the game and carried the ball. We've got Vaughn and Mayers carrying the ball, and Taylor Heineke right now, 7 carries, 58 yards, is really adding a dimension to our running game, and it was important for Angus to play well in this game.
All right, Coach, now before we talk about the playoffs, how about a moment to visit with the CAA Defensive Player of the Week, Eric Lewis, who came up with the 2 big plays to get the Monarchs their 9th win. Chris Reckling has his story.
Injuries are a part of the game of football. It's never easy, and getting back to action can be tricky. Old Dominion cornerback Eric Lewis is all too familiar with the process. He suffered a high ankle sprain against Towson, and it took 3 weeks to recover.
I was very, very upset. I mean, of course, you know what I'm saying, it hurt just, you know what I'm saying, just to see your team out there, you not be able to help, but it hurt even more just, you know what I'm saying, being in practice, watching everybody go hard, and you on the side just watching. So.
Even though Lewis is still slowed by the injury, he made a huge impact in last weekend's game against William and Mary. The redshirt freshman forced a fumble in the first quarter and then had 2 interceptions in the final 2 drives of the game.
I'm proud of myself, but it wasn't something that I knew I couldn't do, that I knew I wasn't already capable of doing. I just had to put my all into it, and I knew a play needed to be made. Somebody had to make it, so stepped up.
Lewis now has 4 interceptions on the season, and this week was named the CAA Defensive Player of the Week.
I wouldn't say I stole it, I say I worked hard for it, you know what I'm saying? The road to recovery, working with Marty, working with Coach Mack, and Coach Martin, it was hard, but it paid off.
In Norfolk, Chris Reckland for the Old Dominion Football Show.
Thanks, Chris. Coach, what a great game by Eric.
Phenomenal. And the fact, Bruce, he came out of that game at least 2 times to get his ankle retaped by our trainers. He was hurt in that entire game, and he just would not give up on that game. Very proud of his performance.
The trainers have done a great job this year.
Yes, they have.
Old Dominion ends the regular season 9-2 overall, 6-2 in the conference, but still ahead the NCAA playoffs and perhaps a share of the CAA championship. We're going to talk about that. And they are so important. The 12th Monarch, you, the fans. Let's celebrate one more time with our Tailgaters of the Week. The Old Dominion Football Show is back in 30 seconds. Coach, while your team gets a chance to rest up this week, there are still several key games in the CAA, and the Monarchs are still in the running for at least a share of the CAA championship. But what has to happen?
Well, we'll be big fans this weekend of the University of Rhode Island because they need to beat Towson in a game that's in Kingston, Rhode Island, Bruce, which is in Rhode Island now. They've been 9-2 in their last 11. We had a tough game there. We also need New Hampshire to beat Maine in a game played at New Hampshire. If that happens, we're co-champs in our first year in the CAA.
All right, let's see what happens all season here on the show. We have gotten to know the players a little better thanks to Ali Lucia, so let's look back at the best of the 1-minute drill.
I'm joined by Chad King. Chad, have you ever done the 1-minute drill before?
No, I haven't.
Dig on a little bit, you know. You might dig on. That's how we do it back home.
If you could go out on a date with any celebrity, who would it be?
Alicia Keys.
And if you were going to ask Alicia Keys out on a date, how would you do it? Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
All right, let's go. Ask Alicia Keys out on a date. Baby, if you want swag, my way is the way you need.
I know a little bit of Spanish, that's about it, but I haven't done any of it since I've been in college, so.
Hablo español un poco?
Sí.
If you could star on any reality TV show, which one?
Reality TV show. Say The Bachelor.
Oh, 25 options, I like it. Are you a blonde or brunette guy?
I am both.
I know Chad Ochocinco would show us his abs.
They bleed just like we do. They put their pants on just like we do. Y'all go out there playing like a bunch of girls.
Out here, like I said, I'm on Twitter a little bit. I'm on, it's at RoundDown96 on Twitter.
You passed the 1-minute drill. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, one of the best parts of football Saturdays at SB Ballard Stadium is watching the fans get ready for the game in the parking lot surrounding Foreman Field. So, Coach, let's meet one last time this season with our Tailgaters of the Week.
All right, this is Fred Levine here tailgating out here at Old Dominion. Big Blue, 1981. Hey! I just want to let you know, hey, back over here. We have here Taylor Heineke's family all the way from Georgia coming to see the game. And this is Mom.
Yes, hi.
Stepdad.
Stepdad. Mike, how are you?
Stepbrother, Ryan. Yep. So we just want to tell him how lucky we are to have him here. We appreciate it. Make sure all his teammates that are any quality come up here too. And thanks again. Great job. He's a good kid. So, all right, ODU, here we go. 81. I'm an old man. Taylor Heineke right here, number 14.
When we come back, the playoffs are ahead. We'll talk about that and find out from Coach Wilder his priorities of the week. Don't go away. Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, the NCAA announces the NCAA football tournament pairings. Coach, explain to the fans what you hope to see.
What I hope we'll hear Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, Bruce, is that we've received a first-round bye and we're playing a home game on December 3rd. That's really the best option we could get at this point because we're not one of the top 5 seeds and we didn't win our conference. So we're hopeful that'll happen. We could end up playing November 26th, which is the first round. But the bottom line, we're in and we're excited to be in.
You would expect, though, if you had to play in the first round, you would play at home.
I feel very confident we'll receive a home game because of what our athletic director, Wood Seelig, and our president, John Broderick, have done through the bid process, which only happens because of the 12th Monarchs. None of that happens if it doesn't, but putting in an aggressive bid, I believe, will have us at home either way, whether it's the 26th or December 3rd.
And you're invited to that pairings party, 10 o'clock Sunday morning
yes,
at
you
the
are.
Constant Center. Now the tough questions from the fans. It's time for the Coach's Corner. And Paige in Hampton asks, Coach, Jimmy Laycock has been the head coach at William & Mary for 32 years. Do you see yourself at ODU in the year 2039?
Well, Paige, I like the way you think, and I'm hopeful in 2039 when I'm 75, you'll still feel the same way about me. Thanks for the question.
Coach, you'll be a young 75. Mike in Norfolk asks, what are some of the areas of concentration for off-season recruiting?
Yeah, great question, Mike. We always want to address all areas on our football team. And the reason we do that, Mike, is we want to create competition and depth at every position. So we'll be out aggressively recruiting kids at every player or at every position this year in recruiting. Thanks for the question.
And Trey in Smithfield wants to know, and I think a lot of folks do, Coach, in all honesty, did you really believe your team would have a better record than last year, considering it was your first full year in the CAA?
Yeah, another great question. I had confidence in our team that we would compete in every football game. I felt like we were a good football team, a well-coached football team with great assistant coaches, and really what was the difference for this team this year is the fact that in those 8 games decided in the fourth quarter, we were 6-2. That's why we're 9-2 this year. I felt confident going into the season we'd have a good season, and we did. And I'm very proud of our football team. Thanks for the question.
All right, no game this week, but I'm sure you had plenty to do. Coach, in 30 seconds, what were your priorities of this week?
Number one, more time to focus on our schoolwork. We've been going at it for 15 weeks. That was a priority. Number two, get healthy. We've had 25 players that were on the injury report. Those players are going to have an opportunity to get healed up. And number three, recruiting. Our coaches have been on the road since Sunday night all this week. Now they're back. We handled those priorities and are excited about it. Thank you.
All right, Coach, thank you. Join the team at the Constant Center Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for the selection party. And, Coach, we'll be back for our final show Thanksgiving night. We'll talk about the playoff opponent. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you, Bruce.